How much is a glass of water worth? A glass of water, you can imagine one, right? Just like this. How much is that glass of water worth? I've been asking my clients that, masterminding on that, and thinking about that now for over a decade. And I must admit, today, especially during this lockdown period, it's April 2020, and today is one of the integrity days of Buckminster Fuller, our anniversary of those things. This aspect of value and how we exchange value is, I think, more and more pressing and more priority. So we used to talk about the intrinsic value. What's the accounting value? I'm an accountant by training. The accounting value of a glass of water. Now, disregard the actual glass, right? The container. Not talking about the container. We're talking about the contents. That glass of water. Now, let's again assume that it is clean drinking water. It's safe drinking water. Yep, it's water. So what is the value of that glass of water? Now, if you go to the shops in some places around the world, they sell bottles of water for pounds and dollars, sometimes 10, 20 or more. You go to restaurants and hotels and environments, a glass of water, even a tap water, they might charge you for. But just imagine for a second that glass of water. What is it actually worth? What's the value exchange? Now, does it matter who you are and where you are? Often we talk about how the valuation would be different if you were in a desert, if you'd had a plane crash, God forbid, if you were in that environment and desperate for that glass of water, or if you were around a place where there was water in an abundance, a place where you had fresh springs at your beck and call, and maybe you'd already had enough water for that day and you had your own supplies. So that question of value and exchanging value gets more and more important. And the reason I'm bringing this up today especially is in this climate where often we're not doing what we used to do. How we prioritize and what we value, I think, has shifted. And we were talking about the idea of our storage lockers, right? Maybe you've had one, maybe you've been around one, maybe your own property, maybe in your own room or in your own bag, or maybe simply in our own mind. We have these things we hold on to. And the truth of it is how little of that may be valuable or how much of it might be valuable. And I don't know. I don't know the answers. Even though I've trained as a chartered accountant, I'm an FCA with the ICAW, I'm a trained auditor, and there's many ways of doing accounting, auditing, and valuation. So today, when we look at the value of a glass of water, is that an easier question than, say, the value of a note? Now, I'm in the UK. For those that know, this is a valid £20 note that I got out of the cash machine over 2 months ago. And this is the new one, these sort of plasticky ones. And it talks about the value of that note, the integrity of the agreement of what that is worth to the bearer of the note. So you might go, it's worth £20. £20 of what? And how does that relate to one of those? United States America $5 bill. How do those things relate? And what about one of those? Now you might not recognize it. If you're looking closely, it's United Arab Emirates Central Bank, 100 dirhams. So how do these things relate? And if you needed that glass of water, is there a way to transform this into this? Can we take the note, the paper, and turn it into one of these? Now, right now in the UK, physical cash isn't really acceptable. It's kind of interesting. If you want to go buy some food, most people are saying, no, we're only taking debit and credit cards. In other places around the world, they wouldn't even know what these things are. I don't mean that rudely. It's really be present to that. Our understanding of value and how we can store value and exchange value becomes really important in a world where that's maybe the only thing we've got left is being human, being valuable and sharing our value and forming exchanges. We talk about the win-win-win-game.com, these value exchanges that are really useful to people. See, in times of scarcity, which may come in the winters, you tend not to be frivolous with your resources. And in times of great abundance, you might do things differently. We all have those holiday days where you do things that you look back and go, did I really just do that? Maybe a birthday, a wedding, an anniversary, where you give somebody a present where you're being generous, but you're using your values, your utilities differently than you would otherwise. But it's not good or bad, it's not right or wrong. This opens that question of, what is that glass of water worth? You may have just heard a car going past outside. What's the value of that transport? And do we need to own it or get access to it? Different cultures think of this idea of ownership very differently. And again, it's just a start for a bigger inquiry that often we talk about at our live events and masterminds. So for today, just think about that. What is that glass of water worth? What's an hour with somebody you care about worth? What's the value of the simple idea that makes a difference to you? What about having access to an experience that you might never know was possible? How do you value these things? And do you value them? And maybe you could value them more moving forward. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.